Alright, so today I'm going to be doing something I've never done before, and that is hanging a cabinet, a very large cabinet, from the ceiling. So I'll get into a little bit later in the ceiling how we did things, but basically down here we did a platform. It's actually just under 16 foot. We did a platform with 2x4s with a 1/2-inch lid on the top, and then threaded rod down from the rafters with some U-channel and obviously some nuts and washers on both sides. So again, I'll get into a little bit more specifics later, but we're just setting up this basically platform that we're going to set all the cabinets on, and there's going to be 6 of them with threaded rod in between each one.
I got it. That looks pretty good right there. Did you say it looks good? Just hold and I'll twist. Ready?
So we're just going to put the first cabinet up, and like I said, they're each about 30 inches wide. I think maybe 28 is the exact, and it equals about 16 feet to the end, 15, like 9 or something. And yeah, just going to screw each one, do one at a time, and then attach it to the platform, which is level, or ish, and then we can adjust it with the nuts and washers on the bottom. But yeah, just going to do threaded rod through each one, and as we go, each cabinet will set another pair of threaded rod, and another cabinet, another threaded rod, and so on and so forth. I looked for a long time on YouTube when this job was coming up. I had seen how they had done it, but how the previous cabinets that were here, how they had done it, were basically replacing what they had. But they, I don't really know. They had like chain and some, I don't know, it was just not a great way. It was actually very difficult to get it down, more so than putting this up. So I didn't really have a reference for how to do it other than this is how I've seen a lot of commercial, I don't know, just things hung from ceilings. So we just decided to do it this way. And I'm not sure, if anybody has an opinion on it, I'd love it, because I looked for a long time on four videos and couldn't find any on how to do something like this. So it is going to have a lot of weight on it. It's mostly for storage, and it'll have, yeah, a lot of weight on it, but each of these threaded rods are 1/2 inch, and I think they're rated for, I don't know, it's a lot though. I don't know, it's like something like 700 pounds or something crazy. So it also, the nut and washer matter, and so there's other things. It's not just the rod, but I personally, after finishing it, I have no doubt. I'm not going to lose any sleep about thinking if it's going to fall or not.
I could get that one while we're doing this. Yeah. Let's do it.
So right now we're just getting it in the range of where it needs to go, level wise. It's very, very close right now, but at the end we'll raise it up or down, left or right, to fully level it. And right now we're just setting the boxes on it and screwing them down just to start. So now that we've got half the boxes up there, we're just going to double check where we're at, and take off those temporary supports, and then go up top and secure it where it needs to be.
Right there? Yeah, I'm perfect right there. Okay, then come over here, because I'm holding it where I thought it would sort of nest. Yep. So we got to tighten that up top. Okay, you good? Right there? Yep. Yeah, maybe a touch more. There? Okay, now go. Is that okay there? Yeah, that is. All right.
And in here, it was very dim. There are not very many lights in here. This is a Japanese restaurant. It has a bar here. That's what we're working over, is this counter with a bar. And it was actually very difficult. Working over the countertop was actually probably the most annoying thing about this. It just, I don't know, leaning over everything was not ideal, but had to do it. But yeah, just here, leveling it and going up or down, left or right. You can see, like, when I tighten it there, I'm going up. That's just kind of how we decided to level it.
Well, we need to get that other threaded rod on the other side. But that's pretty damn close. Here's your. Yeah, well, okay, I'll go up and in first, yeah. Okay. Tell me left, go down. Right about straight there. Right there is where I want to be.
So now I've got all the boxes up, and I'm just gonna screw them, you know, both to the platform and together. And so the threaded rod had to go on the 2x4s on the outside, or, you know, in the center of the 2x4 platform on the bottom to have the most, you know, amount of structural weight on it. Wanted the most amount of, you know, material to hold. So we had to set the, you know, our spacers in between back, so I couldn't, you know, screw together towards the front. That's why I'm so far back. I couldn't quite know what else to do other than set it, you know, the spacer back from the front. But that's how I was doing it, and this is all set here just with the boxes. And we did a little 2x4 frame on the end there for the end panel, and because we had to channel out for those end rods. So there was quite a bit of sway because it's just hanging from the ceiling, so there's quite a bit of sway, so we had to put some, you know, cleats left to right to stop that movement. So just made a couple cuts with some 2x and went up to the rafters on both sides. That's not going anywhere. So up top here, you can see there's threaded rod between each one, you know, 2 on each box, and they are going up into the rafters here, and there's 2x spanning between each truss. And the ones that, you know, the 2x that look like they're short or whatever, that's for the other side, and then, you know, it's spanning both of them and they're screwed down. I don't know, I think it feels pretty strong and everything's, you know, secure, so I feel pretty good about it. So now that I have all the boxes set, I could get my measurements for the face frames, and I added some doors and the crown and all that kind of stuff. The skin for the outside, the finish panels, all that kind of stuff needed to make all that. So just going ahead and making the face frame here. And I've really liked this castle jig to do the pocket holes. The Craig screws just seem to be at an angle and always force the pieces down. I don't know, I've just really liked the castle jig. I've actually, like, that's one thing that is definitely a big upgrade from just a standard, you know, pocket hole with the Craig. But anyways, I'm just making the face frame here. Nothing special about it, just made sure my layout was correct and, you know, everything was going to cover and all that kind of stuff. So could go into a lot of detail about how to do the face frame, but just screwing it together here. And I did decide to make it one piece. Like I said, the whole cabinet's about 16 feet, just under, so it is a big piece, but I think it's more difficult to build it this way, but I think it's a better finished product on the wall. So this is what I decided to do, even though, like I said, it's more difficult. I'd rather have a better looking thing in the end. So we did go all the way with these. We built them, stained them, finished them. So here, already stained it obviously, and then I'm just doing a sealer coat with lacquer. And we don't have a great setup. Like this, our shop is pretty small, and this isn't something we do a lot, especially with a 16-foot piece like this. So just kind of making it work. Definitely, I like the way it came out, the finish. I wouldn't, you know, put it up if I didn't, but it's just, you know, the feel of even spraying it just was a little more difficult than I like. But yeah, just spraying everything out, and yeah, just with the sealer coat, moving quicker. Lacquer definitely is very different spraying than with, you know, latex paint or something. So, but yeah, built all the doors, yeah, everything for this. Yeah, just made it happen. So just, yeah, going over it, and honestly, the stain color is not my favorite at all, but it's what they chose, so giving them what they want. So did some adjustable shelves for all these, so I'm just putting them in beforehand. They can come out after the face frame's on, they can still come out, be moved, all that kind of stuff. I was just putting them in now, both to make sure they fit, and it's easier now, so why not? So now we're getting ready to put up the face frame, and just using a lot of glue. And this is where it's very important that the boxes are all flush and straight together, because if the, you know, if the frame isn't touching the boxes, glue doesn't have any body to it. Like, it won't catch a spot. If there's a gap, it won't, you know, hold. You know, glue will not stick in there like that. So It was very important on the previous step to make sure, you know, everything was good. But now that we are, I'm just gonna, you know, put it up there, and should be fairly easy to set it up there since we made all the measurements in one piece. We're just gonna put a couple in to hold it for now.
So that stops.
So I personally, with wood glue and some 1 3/4, you know, 18 gauge brads, I felt very comfortable with, you know, putting it under that, and just, yeah, moving along, shooting it here, and making sure I'm, you know, either hitting the ply or also the 2x4, you know, platform on the bottom is obviously a good spot to shoot to as well. So now I'm gonna put on the finish panel on the side here, and just using some, ooh, what was this? What was this? I think it's just called paneling adhesive, I believe. It's labeled something like that. I can't quite remember, but panel adhesive basically. And then gonna, yeah, stick it on there, and then just use some pin nails to do this. It's just a 1/4 inch panel, and using some 1 inch pins to hold it on there. And once that, you know, adhesive dries, it is sticking on there. So. Same thing with this back panel, and again, it was just under 16 feet, which obviously works out good for material. So just 2, you know, basically full sheets with a couple cuts is all it took.
Okay. Even there? Oh man, that's pretty dead bang. You want it right there? Right there. Because we'll have to either come down a 1/4 or come over a 1/4. Going back to you, can you anymore at the bottom? Okay. You there? Yeah, you just gotta push up. Yeah, I'm there. Push up.
You can't really see it in this lighting, but actually both these panels, the grain actually look pretty good together. I was surprised. Sometimes it just looks like 2 different, you know, the stain accepts, or the wood accepts the stain however it's going to. You can't really control that. So, especially on plywood. So it was kind of, you know, lucky that all this, you know, looked decent coming together, because sometimes, like I said, the stain looks different, but this one is looking good. So same thing on the bottom here, just making sure it's tight up against the face frame and there's no gaps there, and then just using some pins with the pin nailer and then the adhesive, and it's not going anywhere. And again, with the pin nailer, it's more so about not wanting to fill any holes, and not the laziness of not wanting to fill them, just the look of it. It just isn't a good look when you got a bunch of holes, and this is definitely sufficient for something like this.
Up for me, right there.
So on the outside, we just decided to do some outside corner, and this is what they, you know, the kind of look they wanted. So this is what we were doing, and yeah, just putting some glue in between it and then pinning it up as well. So now we're moving up and doing the crown, and there's a little bit of work with the ceiling. They're gonna adjust we're gonna put back the full panels of the grid ceiling, but they've got some adjusting to do on the, you know, half pieces there. So we're just getting it to the right level, and yeah, they'll adjust it because the grid is not level at all, and obviously we're gonna go to level, you know, or within, you know, reason. So that's how we're doing it here, but just finishing up the crown, which I believe is the last thing.
I kind of think I should go ahead and pin this. Yeah, I agree. Where are you at on your mark? Let's look, because we have some travel here. I'm not sure. Right there is where I want to be.
Alright, so finished up and just putting panels back and getting cleaned up. I feel very good about this project, the way the structure of it and the structural integrity of it and all that kind of stuff. I have no doubt that it'll stay up there. I have no, second guesses that something's gonna happen. So that's important. I think the finished product is good. I obviously, as a professional, there's always things that I'm like, dang, I wish I would have done that slightly different or whatever. But it's definitely a very good product, and I feel good about it, and it's exactly what they wanted, and they're very happy with it. So that's important. And yeah, got it finished up, and this is the final look.